Tonight, ready to retaliate.
Canada will match the United States tariffs, dollar for dollar, rate for rate.
How Canada is striking back as the trade war escalates, and what we know about federal and provincial relief for businesses. Also tonight, doomed dates.
It's very well organized as far as the intent and the number of people that were involved.
How police say criminals were using an online dating platform to lure and rob unsuspecting victims. Plus, books, bags, and bus passes.
This will be a game changer for our learners.
With back to school right around the corner, what you need to know about the rollout for free bus passes for students.
Canada must respond, and today we are, in a proportionate, targeted, and strategic way.
Canada came out swinging today, firing back at Donald Trump's 50% tariffs with dollar-for-dollar counter tariffs effective September 8th. They'll apply to more than 700 U.S. imports worth $27.6 billion. Products such as steel, smartphones, kitchen appliances, seafood, cheese, and honey. And while there will be no doubt economic pressure put on Canadians because of this, government officials wouldn't put a number on how these measures will impact the economy on this side of the border.
We will publish our estimate when we come to the budget 2026. But for the time being, I would say with the measures we're putting forward, this is really about supporting Canada, supporting worker communities and businesses.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Now, in addition, the federal government also announced $7.5 billion worth of support measures. They include extra money for employment insurance, expansions of federal loan and grant programs, and money to help fund shovel-ready projects for Canadian businesses. Premier Kinew weighed in on today's retaliation and even teed up some Manitoba-specific business supports of his own. CTV's Joseph Bernacki is standing by live with those details. So, Joseph, what did the Premier have to say?
Marilee, the Premier spoke today in Winkler, saying increased tariffs will have a, quote, jagged effect, and the impact could be uneven depending on the region of Canada. Some businesses may be hit hard, while others next door continue normal operations. Premier Kinew said the province has returned to giving preference to non-U.S. firms for government contracts. He said the province had held off on sending out tenders during negotiations because a deal would have forced provinces to remove clauses favoring companies that aren't from the U.S. But since the talks collapsed, the province has sent out a new round of tenders. Kinew said Manitoba's Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation, Jamie Moses, is assessing the impact of the tariffs on the provincial economy, specifically how these tariffs and counter-tariffs will affect Manitoba businesses. The province is drafting a tariff response of its own, possibly following suit on federal relief, which has pledged $7.5 billion. Kinew said another option they are considering would be similar to the federal employment insurance expansion.
I think it's important to have that balance, and you'll probably see us moving in a similar way as the province of Manitoba because, yeah, absolutely, we have to keep the corporate sector moving along. But if there are the impacts on the actual workers and the people on the front lines, we have to make sure that we don't leave those folks behind either.
Kinew said they'll have more specifics to share in the coming days, but he noted everyone can start protecting themselves economically by buying Canadian. Kinew added trade relations between the U.S. and Canada could change this fall, depending on the results of the American midterm elections in November.
Joseph, did the Premier have anything to say about those failed trade talks?
Marilee, Kinew says there's still time to turn things around, given that Canada's counter tariffs don't come into effect until September 8th. He did, however, echo the federal approach, saying you can stand up for your own economy, your own jobs, and have a backbone. The Premier again mentioned reducing trade barriers between provinces could also help the Canadian economy through this uncertainty in the meantime.
All right. Thanks for this, Joseph. Winnipeg police are warning a convicted sex offender considered high risk to reoffend is expected to take up residence in the city. 35-year-old James Joseph O'Kane was released from an Alberta prison yesterday. He served a 5-year sentence for an attack against a woman who he dragged into an alley, sexually assaulted, choked, and then threatened to kill while holding a knife. Police say women are at risk of sexual violence. He's described as being 6 feet tall, 266 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. He also has a tattoo on his right arm which says life. The province's plan to roll out free transit passes for students this school year appears to be hitting a few roadblocks. Winnipeg students will not be able to ride transit for free on day one of the new school year. Instead, the program looks like it's going to be staggered and rolled out over a number of weeks. With all the details, CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. So Jeff, we're just 2 weeks out from the start of a new school year. Parents want to know how their kids can get these free passes and when. What can you tell us?
Yeah, schools will be providing them, and it appears older students are getting them first. When students return to school next month, there is a promise of free transit in Winnipeg. That will save hundreds of dollars for George Lister, who has triplets.
This makes it absolutely perfect for families like me that don't need it full time, but still need it really badly when we do.
But the dad of the grade 7 students is in the dark about how the free program is working with only 2 weeks before the school bell rings.
The details have not exactly been well promoted, and honestly haven't been able to find much on the details.
The province set aside $10 million in this year's budget to offer free transit for students ages 11 and up in a number of cities, including Winnipeg. Last week, Premier Kinew said the pilot project for grades 7 to 12 students will be done in phases.
Any learner that needs public transportation will get it.
Winnipeg School Division Superintendent Matt Henderson says schools in the city will be making paper bus passes available for grade 11 and 12 students first on September 9th, followed by grade 9s and 10s on September 21st, and then grades 7 and 8 the following week. There are exceptions.
TechVoc, Argyle, Children of the Earth, and RB Russell, where learners come from all over the division. Though all of those students will be able to receive their bus passes on September 9th.
The staggered approach is being done to help schools and Winnipeg Transit manage the rollout of the program while assessing the demands this will place on the system during an already busy time of the year.
We don't have enough buses. It will handle it in non-peak periods, where I am very worried about peak periods.
The city has warned the provincial funding is not enough and could run out by March. And in June, Transit said it could cap the number of passes available at 30,000 based on 50% uptake.
I personally think it's a recipe for disaster. I hope I'm wrong.
Winnipeg Transit says it does not expect demand to exceed pass supply, and it says passes will be valid for a full year, September 2026 to August 2027.
All right, Jeff, if I'm a parent and I have questions, what can I do?
Winnipeg School Division Superintendent Matt Henderson says parents should contact their schools and principals. He also said school divisions will be sending out joint communications next week. Transit says it will be providing information by the end of the month. On top of this, city councillors are set to get an education on the program too, as a council seminar for them is planned next week.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. 15 arrests in 10 different Manitoba communities. The seizure of over 10 kilograms of illicit drugs and 57 firearms. That's the results of a 19-month-long police investigation.
It started as a cocaine trafficking investigation.
But after evidence was gathered and the scope of the operation expanded, this is what police seized as part of Project Dolly. It was launched in December 2024 when Winkler police approached RCMP about multiple kilograms of cocaine being imported to an area business. A number of arrests were made over the past month, and searches were done at residential and commercial properties in 5 communities and municipalities. RCMP expect even more arrests to be made.
Obviously, with any investigation, there's a lot of data that we need to go through, from search warrants, production orders, things of that sort. So that takes time. So we'll see what we find, and then we'll go from there.
7 charges have been laid so far, 29 against a 28-year-old Carmen man who was arrested during a traffic stop in February. The other suspects, 14 men and 1 woman, live in 10 different communities, including Morden, La Riviere, Thornhill, the Arm of Stewart Burn, and McCreary. Charges are also pending against 2 Winnipeg men. There's been a high number of high-profile restaurant closures downtown in recent weeks, but now it looks like an iconic venue may actually be reopening its doors. A notice posted to the front of the Fort Garry Hotel says a liquor license application has been filed for the 30th floor. Now, if you recall, that used to be home to Prairie 360, otherwise known as the Revolving Restaurant. It shut down in 2020 amid the COVID-19 pandemic. This application is for an establishment called Dos Pampas Skyline Restaurant. All right, Colleen Brady joins us now with the first look at your Skywatch forecast. Boy, what a view from that revolving restaurant you would have got of last night's lightning show.
Yes, another great view is this one. Check out this viewer video. A lot of folks send in a lot of great video, but take a look at this. It's dark, granted. You've got that red barn there with the lights on, but the sky lighting up over top, and if you listen closely, you can hear those crickets. Quite the light show, Nancy says, was put on by Mother Nature out her way near Springsteen, Manitoba, as it was across southeastern Manitoba. At one point, the thunderstorm that moved over Winnipeg was severe when it was right over top of the city. There is still the possibility we could see thunderstorms yet tonight, although it doesn't look like we'll see quite what we experienced last night. But we did have an area of low pressure that moved on over to just now into Ontario, and you can see the circulation around it, bringing rain and thunderstorms primarily into northwestern Ontario now. But there is also still the potential with this atmospheric setup for funnel clouds to develop yet this evening. I'll have more details on the likelihood of that and what's ahead the rest of the night and the rest of the week as we close in on next weekend. I know it's Tuesday. I know, but we've already been talking about the weekend around here. I digress. Anyway, let's take a look through the CTV Live Eye. It's brought to you by Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years in Winnipeg right now. It's cloudy and 23 degrees with a humid X. It feels like 29. Windy out there too. Winds out of the northwest at 29 kilometers an hour with gusts up to 42. The pressure's rising and the humidity right now merely is 70%.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, if you think online dating is bleak, you probably still have a more optimistic outlook on love than these guys. Winnipeg police have arrested 3 people in connection to a series of robberies police allege are linked to online dating sites. Standing by live to explain is CTV's Taylor Brock. So, Taylor, what happened here?
Well, police say they were robbed at knife point, merrily. Each man planned to meet a woman they met online at a Winnipeg home. But when they got there, the victims were confronted, robbed, and confined to the house. According to Winnipeg police, several adult men reported meeting a 44-year-old woman on dating websites between February and August of this year. When the victims went to meet her in person, police say men held them at knife point, stole their wallets and keys, and they were prevented from leaving. Police are alleging the suspects then took the victims' vehicles, made fraudulent purchases, and withdrew cash from ATMs. It was only when the suspects returned with their vehicles that the victims were freed. Police say the robberies occurred in the 400 block of Eugenie Street and the 500 block of Polson Avenue. On August 7th, police arrested a 44-year-old woman and a 51-year-old man. A 61-year-old male was arrested the next day.
It's a little bit convoluted in the sense that the person didn't really hide their identity, the female that was arrested as the main perpetrator here. And the addresses are linked to the suspects, and the suspects do know one another. So, and as far as organization, there is some type of organization, but again, we don't always catch the right ones.
Police are continuing to investigate. They believe there may be more victims and are encouraging them to come forward.
Taylor, what charges are these men facing?
Quite a few, merrily. A 44-year-old woman and 51-year-old man are facing numerous charges that include kidnapping and multiple counts of robbery, uttering threats, and forcible confinement. Now, they were both detained in custody. A 61-year-old man is facing those same charges I just mentioned, as well as uttering threats and disguise with intent. He was released on an undertaking. None of the charges have been proven in court.
All right, thanks for this, Taylor. Finding an affordable place to live is one of the biggest challenges for women escaping violence.
A new transitional housing complex with 25 units and 57 beds for women and children leaving gender-based violence.
If you say release the FC files, then you should support the red.
$2.4 million will be used to create Clearwater Place at Winkler's Genesis House. It includes trauma-focused programming and counseling services, new gathering spaces, and even a play area for kids. Genesis House's director says Clearwater Place's transitional housing will give families a safe space to sleep, live, and heal.
To the staff of Genesis House, thank you. Every day you guys witness extraordinary resilience from the women and children we serve. Your compassion has shaped every part of this project. Your belief in me has made Clearwater Place possible.
Ground has already been broken on Clearwater Place. It's expected to welcome families in April of next year. Well, it just became easier for folks living in and around the Pas to get an MRI. The province says the mobile MRI unit began serving patients at St. Anthony's General Hospital on Monday. It came from Thompson, where it's been used for more than 3,000 scans since arriving in June. The province says going forward, the device will rotate between the two communities. A Winnipeg School Division's plan to develop an outdoor education and bus maintenance facility outside the perimeter could become a step closer to reality this week. A hearing is set for Friday about the 8.2-acre parcel of land at 3280 St. Mary's Road in St. Germain. It's owned by Louis Riel School Division, which is asking for the site to be rezoned. Documents on the city's website show the portion bordering St. Mary's will include an outdoor classroom, naturalized gardens, and a pond, along with a nearly 11,000 square foot educational facility. The back half will incorporate existing buildings into a maintenance shop and yard. The Public Service is recommending the rezoning be approved with some conditions. New housing options are now available for students of a Northern Manitoba college. University College of the North has officially opened a new student residence at its Flin Flon campus. It features 30 rooms, including 22 student suites and 8 executive suites for instructors and visiting professionals. There's also a dining hall, commercial kitchen, and recreation space. UCN, the Manitoba government, Prairie Scan, and the Manitoba Mineral Development Fund provided $2 million towards construction. Still to come tonight, remembering Dolly Parton. We take a look at the country music icon's impact on both the music industry and the world. That's next. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil lost $2.65. The loonie saw little change. Gold futures fell $3. The TSX added 243 points. The Dow Jones gained 16 points, while the Nasdaq closed 171 points higher. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation is calling on Manitoba's Premier to ease the pain at the pump.
Every time you head to the pumps in Manitoba, you pay 3 different gas taxes.
The Federation's 28th annual gas tax honesty report says Manitobans are paying 27 cents per litre in taxes alone when they fill up. Now, this includes GST, a carbon tax, and the provincial gas tax.
So when you head to the pump, you're paying about $21 to fill up a minivan in just tax, about $27 in just tax to fill up a pickup truck.
And that could jump even higher next month if the Prime Minister ends the federal fuel tax cut, which went into effect in April. The Taxpayers Federation is calling on Premier Kinew to call for an extension to that cut, as well as suspending the provincial gas tax to help ease rising gas prices. Donald Trump was up early, firing off missiles on Truth Social today, musing about renaming Lake Ontario Lake America, and repeating his mantra, Canada is ripping off Americans. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more on the moves in Washington.
Among a morning barrage of anti-Canadian posts, we were labeled the most difficult and unreasonable. President Trump says the U.S. is seriously considering renaming Lake Ontario to Lake America because we don't expect to be doing much business with Ontario any longer, followed by this map and another in Lego from the White House.
We'll always call it Lake Ontario. Great Lakes. Period.
Canada's industry minister firm on that, and firm in response to Trump's message that he loves French Canadians.
The question is not about love. The question is about sovereignty.
The president said he would never interfere with Canadians speaking French, a lie made up by a weak and ineffective prime minister for political support.
While all these shenanigans are happening, we'll just be smart, and we'll be strategic, and we'll fight back.
But a shift in tone Tuesday from Ontario's premier.
Doug, you are a lot more mellow right now. I mean, yesterday you were telling the president to kiss your tush.
Doug Ford took to American airwaves once again, mellow and encouraging.
It got a little heated back and forth over the last day, but I really want to just get a deal signed. It's time to get back to the table and let's negotiate a fair deal. I'd rather make a great deal.
I think it's going to have a significant impact.
While this trade expert, who was once assistant chief negotiator in the United States Trade Representative's office, says Canada's counter tariffs will hit Americans, especially in states critical to Trump in the upcoming midterms.
Carpets are being made a lot in Georgia, in the state of Georgia. Georgia is a very big state that the Republicans are trying to win back that Senate seat. There's some on Tennessee, another critical state. There's some on products being made in Texas. So I think that there was some strategic thought put into not only what the products are, but where their production is located.
While there hasn't been much public presidential pushback from Republicans, sources tell us behind the scenes it's a slightly different story, especially in those states worried about midterms, with lawmakers listening more closely to constituents hurt by tariffs. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Washington.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement set a new record last month, arresting nearly 50,000 people in July. That's the single highest monthly arrest total during the second Trump administration. The spike shows the Trump administration continues to advance its mass deportations agenda, despite a shift in approach earlier this year. High-profile operations in large American cities sparked public outcry, but recent arrests have garnered less attention. In Iran, lines have grown outside of gas stations as the U.S. tightens its blockade and threatens more severe sanctions. Some people in the capital of Tehran are waiting more than 2 hours to fill up their tanks. But there's still no sign yet Iran's leaders will bow to U.S. sanctions. The latest U.S. measures are aimed at wringing concessions from the Islamic Republic, nearly 6 months into the war launched by President Donald Trump and Israel. Country music lovers around the world are processing the news Dolly Parton has died. The legendary musician and philanthropist rose to stardom as a singer-performer, but will be remembered for so much more. Her songwriting, her acting, her larger-than-life career, her big smile. CTV's Jean-Pierre Boschman shares Dolly's story.
With her outsized personality and hairdo, Dolly Parton lived her life in rhinestones. But down-to-earth empathy shone through in the music she brought to millions worldwide.
I don't think about my life in terms of superstar. I'm just a working girl. I always say, and it's the truth, that I am a workhorse that looks like a show horse.
Just days ago, she shared a health update with fans, saying she was dealing with issues, and that even though she was healing, she was still working. Dolly Parton often said, as she did in song, that she was a country girl's version of glamour. She rose from poverty, the fourth of 12 children, her mother making clothes from rags, to riches, attaining glittering country music stardom and crossing genres. With her soprano voice, she delivered 25 '1 country hits, many of them she had written herself. She was one of the first women stars to write much of her own material. In the 1970s, her star rose. She delivered movies like 9 to 5, TV shows, and more hits. She was a country star inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and in later years focused on her charity work. Her husband, Carl Dean, died 17 months ago, a heartbreaking loss to Parton, who described their relationship as a great love story. Dolly Parton's nephew announced her death, as was her wish.
She wants to rest in a beautiful bed of plush cotton because after a life wearing heavy rhinestones, she finally deserves to be comfortable and have some rest.
Parton once said she hoped people would see her brains beneath her hair, her heart beneath her chest. But many also say it was her humanity that touched so many, and that her legacy is far more than her music. She was 80 years old. CTV News, Montreal.
And Dolly Parton's charity work even extended into our province. Last year, she donated a one-of-a-kind celebrity bowl for a Harvest Manitoba fundraiser. Parton fired, glazed, and decorated it herself using costume pieces from her past performances. Australia is taking action against music created by AI. The plan is to ban the music from official charts.
When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm down on my knees. I wanna take you there.
The recording industry in Australia says the technology is threatening artists' livelihoods. For example, it says an AI version of Madonna's hit, Like a Prayer, spent 16 weeks on the charts.
Well, the sun's shining, so you may as well live out here and make it easier on yourself.
Home away from home. Just ahead, how hockey billet families in Manitoba are keeping the sport accessible by opening their doors to their homes.
And a sunny start to the long-range forecast for Winnipeg. Thursday, sunny, 24 degrees. Into Friday, a little warmer, 25, mix of sun and cloud. Now, there's a low chance of showers. The weekend looks great, mix of sun and cloud Saturday, 26 degrees, 24 on Sunday. Yeah, it's a little cloudier, and there is the possibility of showers. We get into Monday, still holding steady right around the mid-20s there, 24 degrees, a mix of sun and cloud. Again, we still can't shake at least the chance of showers.
Hockey season is right around the corner, and people in our community are welcoming the next generation of stars into their homes. CTV's Daniel Halmerson has more on the special bond between players and billet hosts.
Brett McCauley's hometown north of Elkhorn is just a couple hours down the Trans-Canada Highway from Winnipeg. But that commute is far too long for the 19-year-old Winnipeg Monarchs defenseman with a schedule full of games, practices, and workouts.
Your time away from home, you make hay while the sun's shining, so you may as well live out here and make it easier on yourself than stretch the days.
That's where Dion Travers comes in, McCauley's hybrid mentor / roommate.
I come from a family of 14 and I'm the youngest brother, and I've always wanted to, know how it felt to be an older brother.
Travers is a billet host for Monarch players like McCauley to stay during the hockey season. McCauley has his own room and helps out around the house when he's not at the rink.
Like the first 2 weeks, you feel like a little awkward, and then after that, it's kind of just like it's like another older brother to me. Like we basically do everything together.
Billet programs have been a big part of junior hockey for decades, a world where players often live hundreds, if not thousands of kilometers from their families. For Travers, it's about helping young people navigate through the daily grind.
Just giving them a home away from home, because I know how hard it is to have to leave their home at a young age.
Riley Dudar, the Monarchs coach and GM, stayed with host families across the country during his playing career. He says each experience taught him a thing or two about life.
Learning from different people and adopting some of their values and the way that they do things, and applying those types of things to my life.
Dudar says the Monarchs are looking for more families this season, whether it's empty nesters, a full house, or a host like Travers.
I think number one, just good humans. They have good values. They want to have fun. They're able to get along with the players.
Daniel Halmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
You can learn more about becoming a billet host on the Winnipeg Monarchs website.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Well, it seems those thunderstorms may not be done with us just yet.
Well, there's still a risk here on this side of the provincial border. They're much more active in northwestern Ontario, but I mentioned earlier the possibility for funnel clouds. It looks like the potential for that is diminishing now, but earlier today, Environment and Climate Change Canada suggested it was certainly possible. The reason being an upper low over the Manitoba lakes was sliding off toward Ontario, and you can see the rotation right around the center of that low as it pushes further to the east. But with this particular atmospheric setup, there was the potential for funnel clouds. There may still well be. Now, the issue was going to be how much cloud was going to slide in from the northwest. If there was enough, it would limit daytime heating, and consequently just wouldn't be warm enough to get those funnel clouds forming. As you can see, it is relatively clear. There's a few clouds, but now that we're starting to get into the evening hours and the temperatures are starting to drop off a bit, it looks less likely. But I want to take you over into northwestern Ontario. Look how much more active that thunderstorm activity is right now. We've got light rain falling in Dryden. There is an outright thunderstorm right now in Sioux Lookout, but lots of other areas are seeing that rain and thunderstorm those thunderstorms come through. Now, no severe thunderstorms at this point, but you can see there's a lot of them going through the region right now, and that rain or those showers will continue into late tonight. Meanwhile, back in Manitoba, we'll see the sky clear in the overnight hours, setting up the stage for a sunny day on Wednesday across most parts of the province, and into northwestern Ontario, a lot of that rain is going to push off well to the east. We get into tomorrow night, pretty much clear as a bell across most areas except for a little bit of scattered showers popping up in the northeast. Into Thursday we go. The sunshine will stick around across much of the region well throughout the day. For tonight, we drop down to 15 degrees. Now, along the way, there is an increasingly lower chance we'll see some showers with a thunderstorm risk this evening. Really overnight, we'll see the sky clear out for the most part. Winds until late tonight out of the northwest at 30, gusting to 50 kilometers an hour. The UV index for Wednesday tomorrow for the city is 6 or high. Sunshine returns for the commute, 17 degrees, light winds out of the north. But once we hit mid-morning onward, those northwest winds will redevelop and they'll stay strong and gusty throughout the day. On the way to an otherwise sunny high right around 24 degrees. Up in the northeast tonight we go. You'll see fog overnight in Churchill down to 10 degrees there. Gillam, Island Lake, partly cloudy. Thompson down to 11 degrees. 17 there tomorrow with a chance of showers. Same thing for Island Lake, up to 19 degrees. Churchill 12 tomorrow. In the northwest tonight, just a few clouds. Overnight lows between 10 and 12 degrees around the region. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud. 21 degrees in Norway House, Flin Flon down into the Paw. Lynn Lake 18 degrees. In the southwest tonight, partly cloudy for most areas. Brandon and Dauphin both down to 10 degrees overnight. Sunny, highs between 23 and 25 all across the region. Winnipeg in the southeast tonight, partly cloudy. Once we shake that risk of thunderstorms, and it looks like we will, clearing overnight down to the mid-teens. Sunny and windy tomorrow with those strong and gusty northwest winds. Highs of 24, 25 degrees. Pinawa 23 under a mix of sun and cloud. And in northwestern Ontario, those thunderstorms moving across the region right now, down to the mid-teens overnight. Cloudy around the region tomorrow with highs between 23 and 24 degrees. Our first weather photo takes us near Rosenort. Look at that. This was the storms passing by. Now, Wendy described them as intense, silent, and beautiful. And indeed they were. Look at that photo. And this next one is from Jara right here in Winnipeg, capturing the light show over downtown Winnipeg. Thanks, Jara, for that one. Send us yours to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, if it's not every day you get a private tour of the Manitoba Legislative Building from the Premier himself, but that is exactly who showed a Winnipeg newcomer around. Andrian Maknacho is a Ukrainian refugee documenting his Canadian firsts. The TikTok star wanted to meet Kinew on Ukraine's Independence Day. Not only did the Premier accept, Kinew also gave him a private tour of the government building. Kinew even invited Maknacho to sign his name in the attic, saying the Ukrainian is now a part of Manitoba's history.
He took me on the roof. We was like walking around. He showed me the areas around because it's still something I'm exploring where I want to live in the future. He was like, there's Osborne Village, there's this building, you should check it out.
Maknacho was also given a gift at the legislature, but wouldn't say what it was.
Our suppliers will then leave product on the docks because they cannot bring it into the country without a 50% tariff.
Still ahead, a first-hand look at how tariffs trickle down and impact Canadian businesses. Plus, what does the trade war mean practically for Canadian consumers? That's all coming up. We've been using the word tariff a lot since Donald Trump first made it the centerpiece of his economic agenda. In simple terms, it is a tax placed on goods coming into a country from another country. Today, Ottawa announced help for Canadians caught in the crossfire. But will it make a difference? CTV's Andrew Johnson reached out to one company to find out.
At Brett & Co. in Delta, BC, they can bend metal, cut metal, and fabricate beautiful public art, but they have no tool to solve uncertainty.
We don't know whether we should be investing in equipment or battening down the hatches.
In a nutshell, doing business costs more, and finding raw materials is suddenly a problem.
Our suppliers will then leave product on the docks because they cannot bring it into the country without a 50% tariff.
Brett & Co. was named after Vanessa Heim's mom, a family business that's done well over 43 years. But over this unprecedented one, they've watched others disappear.
We had one of our largest customers leave the country last December. They shut their doors after 40 years, laid off 60 staff locally, and that was it. And they went to Texas.
This business expert says that is exactly what President Trump wants to see by making buying Canadian more expensive.
Those nuts and bolts have gotten a lot more expensive. There is a domestic supplier that I can use in the United States, And it actually would be cheaper. So I'm going to cancel my orders with you in Canada to avoid paying those tariffs.
Heim says the federal support announced today does not help her business. What would?
Allowing us to compete on a global market, which would include reducing taxes and increasing our ability to purchase automation, write off capital expenditures.
Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Appliances and electronics from the U.S. will be hit hard by Canadian counter tariffs, and as Heather Wright reports, Canadians are being encouraged to buy Canadian.
Among the products soon to be hit with a 50% reciprocal tariff are many that are sold here at Brentview Electronics.
It is going to be, without using a bad term, a horror show for us going forward while everybody is up in the air on what's happening today, tomorrow, next week.
The family business sells TVs and speakers and does wiring and installations.
Sonos is our bread and butter. It is the app.
Steve DeWeerd says with costs up in general, another spike will likely keep many would-be customers on the sidelines.
If there is a 50% cost on wire that we put in new construction houses or renovations, it's going to bring the whole budget up and might put the average consumer on a holding pattern.
More than 800 different products were included in a list released by Ottawa, from fish to appliances to carpets. U.S.-made cosmetics will also be tariffed, including nail polish. Stella Pham just opened this nail salon in Toronto and hopes she won't have to raise prices for her customers.
We will make the best way to make this client feel happy about it, and we feel happy about it too.
Also on the list, vital materials for infrastructure, including fiber optic cables, network cables, and building materials.
Whether people are building homes or developers are building homes, or whether they're looking to build data centers or universities, I think those things are going to be changing the way that we look at expenses in a big way.
Many businesses say they are trying to prepare as much as possible, but in this environment full of uncertainty, it is hard to predict how this situation might unfold. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
The new school year is fast approaching, and experts say it's worth easing kids back into a routine to get a good night's sleep. Preschoolers should get up to 13 hours of sleep, while tweens need between 9 and 12 hours. Teenagers do best with 8 to 10 hours of shut-eye. To get back on track, experts recommend setting earlier bedtimes a week or two before the first day of school, or gradually going to bed 15 to 30 minutes earlier each night. Maternal mental health was once a taboo topic, but it's now making headlines. A high-profile trial is underway in the U.S. of a mother whose attorneys say strangled her 3 young children while experiencing postpartum psychosis. Experts say the focus on what some new mothers go through is long overdue.
That's such a prevalent condition, and yet people don't talk about it, and they don't recognize the symptoms.
Wendy Davis is president and CEO of Postpartum Support International. She says symptoms can start before, during, and after pregnancy and may be different for each person. They can include feelings of anger, irritability, and rage, lack of interest in the baby, disturbances of sleep and appetite, crying and sadness, feelings of guilt, shame, or hopelessness, loss of interest, joy, or pleasure in things you used to enjoy, and possibly thoughts of harming the baby or yourself.
What happens is she thinks, I shouldn't have done this. I'm not cut out to be a mom.
Davis says the symptoms are temporary and treatable. She goes on to say resources are available to anyone and a diagnosis is not needed to get help. A reminder, if you are in crisis, there is support available right now. It includes the WRHA Mobile Crisis Service if you're here in Winnipeg, and the Manitoba Farm, Rural, and Northern Support Service for rural Manitoba. Anywhere in the province, you can call the Clinic Crisis Line or Manitoba Suicide Prevention and Support Line. The National Suicide Crisis Helpline is 988.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Coster Denture Clinic.
Oscar winner, Oscar, what do you call it when you don't? Nominee.
Brotherly Love, why 2 Hollywood superstars are starring in a new rumor-filled series. The surprising details coming up next in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Charlie Barron's.
A two-day comedy showcase featuring Indigenous comedians is coming to Winnipeg. It's called the Must Be Nice Indigenous Comedy Festival. It highlights performers from near and far who are set to bring their unique perspectives to the stage. Headliners include Jeff Gobey, Caitlin Brightnose, Stefan Meachus, and Sherry McKay. The event kicks off on Friday at Devil May Care Brewing Company at 7 p.m. and runs through Sunday. All right, by now you might have heard the rumor that Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are actually brothers. Well, the jury is still out, but the pair are definitely leaning into it.
Maybe it's not a total coincidence that you and Matthew are always scrapping like brothers.
Mom, are you saying
you and Matthew might be brothers? Yes. Buckle up, Chuckle.
The pair play fictionalized versions of themselves in the upcoming comedy series Brothers. In the series, their lives are thrown into chaos after McConaughey's mother lets slip that, you guessed it, they might be siblings. The 8-part series debuts September 23rd on Apple TV. Well, some of the most iconic props and costumes in modern movie history are going under the hammer. Pretty cool. John Travolta's white disco suit from Saturday Night Fever is on the auction block. It's estimated to bring $200,000 to $400,000. Also up for bid, the stunt axe Jack Nicholson used in The Shining, Johnny Depp's title prop from Edward Scissorhands, Michael Keaton's bat suit, the mosquito in Amber Fossil from Jurassic Park, and Marty's hoverboard from Back to the Future. More than 1,700 lots are up for auction Wednesday through Saturday at propstoreauction.com. Well, 4 years after being shot dead, the influential Punjabi rapper Sidhu Moosewala is hitting the stage again as a hologram. The late artist's team says the Sign to God Hologram World Tour will kick off in Toronto. The show is scheduled for October 8th. More tour dates are expected to be announced soon. Moosewala broke through in 2017 when he was an international student in Brampton, Ontario. He was killed while driving his car in Punjab, India in May of 2022. He was just 28 years old. Your primetime lineup tonight starts with Jeopardy Masters at 7. The Amazing Race Canada comes next at 8. And at 9, catch Password. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Well, a lot warmer than this day a year ago. We didn't even get to 19 last year. Today we got up to 24, and you might also be noticing it's starting to get darker sooner. The sun sets now at 8:27 p.m. Tonight, partly cloudy, 15 degrees. We'll see some clearing overnight. Sunshine all throughout the day on Wednesday and Thursday, 24 degrees both days. Mix of sun and cloud Friday with a low chance of showers up to 25. Nice start to the weekend, 26 Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud. Yeah, a little cloudier on Sunday, and yeah, there's the possibility of showers. 24 degrees, a chance of showers on Monday merely. Otherwise, a nice mix of sun and cloud.
Thanks, Colleen. A woman from California has skateboarded her way into the history books. Here's Danny New.
Yeah! Look out, 66-year-old Judy Oyama is once again skating into history.
I actually feel like I'm skating more this last 2 years than I've skated forever.
As Guinness World Records 2027 drops in the U.S. today, this legendary speedster is being celebrated as the world's oldest female competitive skateboarder after extending a record she already held by 2 more years.
I remember seeing it at the library, and I'm very stoked. Right there.
This California native has been paving the way on the pavement for more than half a century. After, one day when she was 13, her brother made a skateboard in woodshop class and brought it home.
We tried it on the driveway, and I just kept skating, and we bought a board together. I never stopped.
Not soon after, in the 1970s and 80s, Judy emerged as a skateboarding pioneer. Not only was she inducted into the Skateboarding Hall of Fame in 2018, but a helmet she wore in 1976 has even been archived by the Smithsonian. You gotta just go for it. And obviously she has not stopped since, even with the risk of potential injury.
How are you able to conquer that fear on 4 wheels?
Well, one, I don't think about falling.
But one thing that has kept Judy from retiring, she says, has really been finding a protege. This is 17-year-old Leola Kahaku, whom Judy has been mentoring for 2 years now. Last year at the International Slalom Skateboarding World Championships in Brazil, Judy placed 4th and Leola took the gold at 1st overall. Judy said that moment made her year.
It's just been an amazing opportunity to watch someone like blossom.
And now, thanks in large part to that race, Judy and Leola have qualified for the World Skate Games in Paraguay this October, which will once again break and extend Judy's record some more. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Impressive.
64 going on 24, and I love it. Good for her.
I couldn't do that at any age. Good for her.
It's not too late.
I don't think she's going to slow down anytime soon either.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too late for me.